Laura, we're going on to your question next, Laura. But before we do that, make sure you guys subscribe to the YouTube channel, everybody. Flex on that subscribe button. I'm getting you guys DMing me or pinging me saying, hey, DK, I flexed on it. I'm like, all right, this is happening. We're catching on here. Flex on it, double flex on it if you want to go YouTube and podcast so you can watch and listen. Laura Manette asks this question: how do you recommend someone safely progress in lifting heavier weights? I find myself lifting the same weights all the time. And like she said, I'm surprised sometimes when somebody else grabs that 15 I was going for and I'm forced to pick up the 20 or the 25. I'm surprised how easily I'm able to do a dumbbell snatch over my head. She said, I listened to you and Morgan. Well, thank you very much. And she said, even if it's a repeat episode. And which you're not going to have to do anymore, Laura, because now we're releasing Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, repeat. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. You can double up and listen to some extra ones if you want. But we're happy to do it, Laura. So thank you for being bought in to the gym for your mind. That's what I look at our podcast. This is the gym for your mind. We do all the reps inside the four walls of Burn Bootcamp or on Burn On Demand inside the four walls of your home or on your vacations. But I want to make sure that Burn is with you, or at least our concepts are with you everywhere you can go. Okay, so there's an obvious physical progression to lifting weights, right? There's an obvious physical progression. We call it methods of training at Burn. Loosely follows the NASM, National Academy of Sports Medicine. Shout out to NASM. It follows their OPT model, Optimal Performance Training Model. Okay, and my trainers, whoop, whoop, you guys are gonna know what I'm talking about. Okay, so I don't have a whoop in me. Man, I trained a camp on Saturday. One camp nowadays, my voice is gone, you guys. I've been doing this like almost 16,000 times now. Whoop, whoop. See, I don't have it. Man, that's a fail. That's a fail. Quick side note, Laura and everybody. I did train like the first 6,000 camps with no microphone. And I was doing 42 camps a week back in the parking lot days and the Fun to Be Fit days. So my whoop whoops nowadays, they're a little dry. They're a little raspy. I gotta do something about that. But back to your regularly scheduled program here. Methods of training, okay? We talk about let me just give you the baseline here, okay? So it's like form over everything. That's number one. If your form's right, good, we're great. Then we load you up. All right, we'll make sure that load means increased resistance to a band, increased size of dumbbell or external load. All right, we're giving you more resistance, okay? And then the third thing is rep manipulation, right? So rep, tempo, time, etc. And so the way that we really gauge this and the way that you can gauge this, we gauge it as trainers based on the RPE scale, the rate of perceived exertion, RPE. And the rate of perceived exertion is a scale of 0 to 10, 0 saying, I'm about to fall asleep, 10 saying, my eyebrows are down, my nose is clenched, my teeth are going, my neck veins are bulging, I can't talk, I'm red, I'm sweating, I'm working absolutely as hard as I can. This is the RPE scale. All right, so you know that if you aren't at a 10 out of 10, right, meaning that you can talk and you aren't having to frown your brows, or you're not having to scrunch your nose, you're not having to clench your teeth or squeeze your jaw, or you're not having to bulge your neck muscles. If you're not having to do those things, then you don't have enough, you're not producing enough force output. Okay, your body doesn't have enough weight for you to really put all of your force output into it. And if you don't do that, then you don't grow, because we don't get into the maximum muscular development stage in that OPT model I talked about called hypertrophy. We can link a video there too, guys, because we have a trainer talk that Matt and I did in the OPT model, Optimum Performance Training Model, that really breaks this down, but I don't want to go into that on this particular question. So that's like the physical, obvious part of it, right? But as I travel the country and I get the opportunity to hang out with so many locations, I've been to almost 80 locations this year alone. Almost all of our locations, not all of them. My goal is to get to every single one by the end of 2023. I'm going to say 2024 just to be safe, because we are growing fast too. And so the number keeps getting bigger. But, I'm super blessed to be able to travel around and be with you guys and really just be immersed with you and hang with you on the edge of our brand to see really what you're going through. And here's what happens. And here's what I see the most is that the confidence, meaning the mental toughness or the emotional fortitude, that sits behind your strength, like your physical strength, is asymmetric, has an asymmetrical pace. What I mean is that your physical progression is going up and up and up and up and up, Laura, which is why you can have no more 15s and look at the 25s and then just pick them up and go, even though you don't think you can, because your confidence level or who you used to be is still there. That little voice in your head of who Laura used to be, that person that could only lift the 10s, is still saying, Laura, you're still the person that can only lift the 10s. What are you thinking? Who do you think you are? You're not that strong. You're not that capable. Oh, she's picking up the 10s or the 25s over there. Look at her arms. Your arms don't look like that. You're going to have that conversation. We're all going to have that conversation. That is just what happens. Humans have fear. Humans have doubt. Humans have self-judgment, okay? And at the end of the day, I want you to disassociate your physical and your mental strength, okay? Your physical strength is going to progress because we're going to keep pushing you, right? And every time you increase those weights, I want you to say, I just got mentally stronger. I just got 1% more confident, 2% more confident. Because you proved to yourself that you could. That doubt that said, hey, you're not strong enough or you're incapable was just disproved by the very notion of you not having the option to pick up the 15s and then picking up the 25s. This is everything. I don't want you to overlook the importance of this because we are training every single day. This is why I love fitness as a tool, as a metaphor, as a discipline, as an anchor for your life to be able to navigate the rest of life, because you're going to go through these times where you are physically doubting yourself. You're going to go every day, every camp, if you're pushing yourself. You're going to have that scenario. Let me tell you a story about a time when I was in South Jordan. Shout out to Lauren Hedges and shout out to Liz Miller. You guys out there in Salt Lake City, you guys are absolutely killing it in South Jordan. I was out there for a little training and I saw a member named Rachel. Shout out to Rachel. Rachel looked absolutely like strong as an ox. Like I could tell that Rachel was a former athlete. I could tell that she hasn't been into athletics for a few years. She was deconditioned, 20 pounds overweight maybe at the time. And she was picking up 10 pounds and I could see her RPE was like not there. She was just kind of looking around and, maybe not too excited to be there because it was just, early in the morning and, maybe she had some things going on through her head and she wasn't really focused on like picking up heavier weights or wasn't really focused on, hey, if I pick those weights up, this can translate, I can really gain some confidence today if I pick these weights up. Well, I noticed this because this is what I do and I notice these things. And as soon as I saw that RPE, that rate of perceived exertion around a 2, she was lifting, but she wasn't lifting. And I went over to Rachel, I asked her 2 questions. I said, A, do you trust me? And she looked at me and she said, of course I do. That's why I'm here. That's why I pay my membership. That's why I show up. I trust you guys. That's why I'm here. I said, great. Are you willing to show yourself how strong you are? Ooh. Rachel looked at me like, nobody ever asked me that question before, DK. I guess, because I trust you. And then I had 20 pounds in my hand. All right? Excuse me, I had 15 pounds in my hand. She set down the 10-pound weights. I gave her the 15s. She did more presses. She was now at a 4 or 5 on the RPE scale. Set the 15s down, gave her a 20. She's now at a 5 or 7. I set the 20s down, gave her 25s. She's now at a 7 or 8. I set the 25s down and I gave her 30s. And now she's going on rep 7, rep 8. She's failing out at 10 reps and she's shaking and she's shaking. Oh, and I can see the emotions on her face and I can see the tension in her RPEs at a 10 and she can't talk anymore. And I grab her wrists and we spot and we finish and she fell. The weights fall to the ground. I lower the weights to the ground safely. Her shoulders are dead. She looks at me with the biggest, brightest smile that she had all morning on her face. And she looks up at me like, I just did that. In that moment, because Rachel was aware of it, she worked as hard as she could, overcame those barriers of fear and self-doubt, and went from 10s to 30s. For all my math wizards out there, 10s to 30s is what percentage increase in weight, 10s to 30s, okay? It's an incredible percentage, right? I'm not a math nerd. I don't know, so you have to tell me. I think it's, 200% if you go 10 to 20 and then 10 to 30? Yeah, it's 200%, something like that. Yeah? I don't know. You guys correct me if I'm wrong. But anyways, you have you have an opportunity to get 200% better in just one little vote of confidence. And you guys, when I go travel and I get lines of you, I'm so humbled to be able to say this. I get lines of you guys, and you get your 2 minutes with me. I'm going to cry. It's incredible how little encouragement people need and how easy it is to give when you're intentional about it. Incredible how easy it is to give encouragement to people. And the fact that we walk around every day and we pass people who could just get an encouraging word that can change their whole day. Just a vote of confidence. Just to say, I think you're stronger than what you're putting out right now. I believe in you. You trust me? Are you willing to try this? Changes the game for people like Rachel. It changes the game. When people get 2 minutes, I cry because I don't mean to. I apologize. Actually, I don't. But I get lines of people that tell me everything that's on their heart in 2 minutes. I can tell they've been anticipating all day to say it to me because they're nervous when they come up and tell me their 2-minute story of how one vote of confidence, one encouraging word from one trainer, one day, 3 years ago, set their life into a whole new trajectory. And how easy it is to give those free encouraging words away. It's an ultimate shame that not more people are doing it. And this is really what we're here for, to build leaders who want to build leaders. And the way that you build leaders is by building trust and transparency. And when somebody does something that is great, you tell them exactly how it was great, specifically, and you thank them for how great specifically they actually are. So I said, Rachel, you're an amazing human being. You just lifted 10s to 30s. You have to be more confident in that moment because what you just did right there is you doubled your weights twice. You doubled your weights twice. What would happen if you doubled other areas in your life? What would happen if it was that easy to double other areas in your life? We got to start doubling up out here, you guys. We got to grow 200% in our confidence in one 45-minute camp. We got to grow 200% in our emotional fortitude. And these are things that are byproducts of the gym. You ask, what's the difference between Burn Boot Camp and another gym? You just heard it. So I appreciate that question because it's so needed. It is so needed. So all of my members out there, if you're a Burn member or not, I just really hope that you always know, in the gym, when you start heavy with your weights and then you go light, not the opposite way, starting light and going heavy. When you start heavy and then go light, you're going to get to that 200% growth faster. Okay, that's called translation into your life. Do the hard things first. Wake up every day and do the hardest part of your day first, and then knock out something easy. Right? If I'm up in the gym, I'm on chest press, I'm not starting with 70s. I'm starting with 95s or 100s. And then after I fail out there, then I'm going down. Okay, and then I'm going down. But start heavy, go light. That concept, if you let it, all right, will force you to rush to conflict outside of the gym. It'll force you to do what you say you're going to do when you say you're going to do it. Get up, do the hard things first. It's a concept that scales beyond the four walls. Failure is a great thing. Failure is a great thing. We can't walk around saying, I don't want to be a failure. I want to fail. I want to fail multiple times. I don't want to be a failure. I'm not a failure. Failure is an event. Failure is an experience. Okay, you can't be defined as a failure unless you quit and you lay down and you just let people roll over you and you just give up. And I know that's not you, because people that just give up, they don't like me. The people that don't listen to me are the people that gave up. They're mad because I'm putting pressure on them to grow, and they don't like that pressure, so they change the channel, which is fine. I talk to those at rock bottom like I used to be, and I talk to those who are at the peak of their existence like I feel I am now, because I've been down that road, and I want to help you down that road too. So failure is a great thing. The gym will teach you how to do it. Chase failure. Chase failure. Chase failure. Fall in love with failure. And when you do, and then you overcome it again and again and again and again, mental, emotional fortitude starts to build. Thank you, Laura, for your question. That was amazing. Hopefully you learned a little bit there about the physical nature and then the mental nature of why we do what we do in the gym and why we lift heavy weights. Okay, last question. Last question before we go on. I wanted to tell you one more time that Mondays with Morgan are fire. If you haven't listened to Monday Motivations with Morgan, she goes every Monday on the podcast. It's just her, just like this. So you get an opportunity to hang out with me every week on Thursdays for Ask Devin Anything, and you get to hang out with Morgan on Mondays for Mondays with Morgan, and it is great. Listen, Morgan is my number one mentor in my life. I believe that you can have two mentors, and then you can have a lot of, you can have like two mentors, and you can have a lot of people that you're acquainted with that you can learn things from. Morgan is one of mine because Morgan has been there for me since I was 12 years old, and she was a rock for me growing up, and I hope that she's a rock for you because this woman is an absolute beast, and she's now the CEO of our company, and she's the most empowered woman I know, and obviously I spent like most of my young adolescent life chasing her down from the story you all might know at the bus stop where I have a broken arm, and I asked her if she'll date me, and she says no, and she's dating Matt Morris, our master fitness programmer at the time, who happens to also be my best friend nowadays, all the way to 8th grade, where I wrote her a letter telling her that I was going to marry her and there's nothing she could do about it. Well, she denied that request avidly, by the way. But then at 26, 24, like 25, somewhere in there it happened. July 5th, 2014. I forget how old we were. But I hope that she's the same for you because she's a rock for me. So make sure you check that out and subscribe to the podcast and YouTube so that you can catch her too.